Much love and welcome back to my channel. I am Woman of the Womb, and today I am going to be putting together my Lotus Birth Herbal Blend. I am currently nesting, preparing for my fourth birth, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you how I put my blend together and to answer some of the most commonly asked questions. I previously shared a video on how to have a successful Lotus birth, the step-by-step process, the actual implementation of a Lotus birth. And I get a lot of questions all the time that come up repeatedly. So while I put my blend together, share a little bit more about how to build your herbal blends, I'm going to answer some of those questions for you. So obviously the number one question is, what herbs do I choose? And the one thing I want to say is not to overthink it. I promise you, any herb you choose will be just fine. The number one thing that you want to make sure you have is your pink Himalayan salt. Now, piggybacking off of that question, I have had people ask, do I need to have pink Himalayan salt? Can I use a different type of salt? In a nutshell, no, you do not have to have pink Himalayan salt. You can use sea salt, Celtic salt, either one of those are fine. Or pink Himalayan salt. Everything else, all of the rest of the herbs that you choose are completely up to you. I have used different herbs with each of my Lotus births. I like to choose the herbs that kind of reflect the intention that I'm setting, the season of life that I'm in when I'm giving birth, the energy of the child that is coming through and what I feel deeply resonates and connects with them. Also, the way the herbs smell, what I feel would work well together as a scent, and then just the overall spiritual properties and benefits, the spiritual uses of each of these herbs and what they represent and how that connects with the intention that I'm setting for my birthing space. So this particular blend that I have now is a combination of cinnamon, orange peels, lemongrass, sandalwood, and cloves. Even without me blending these yet, it is still so fragrant, and I know that this is absolutely the scent that I want to go with, especially in my birth. One of the things that I enjoy the most about having a Lotus birth is that I can prepare my blends ahead of time and I can use it while I'm actually in labor as an aromatherapy. So I like to have my bowl prepared and open so that I can smell it. And this is just a really powerful grounding blend. It is protective. It represents the lightness of the energy, new beginnings, new foundations. And so that's really how I put my blend together. And like I said, there are an infinite number of ways that you can create your combinations. So don't overthink it. Go with your intuition and just make sure that you add your salt. Now, the other part to that question is there a specific way that I should layer my herbs? Should I prepare them ahead of time? Should I wait? And honestly, that's up to you. I just like to prepare my herbs ahead of time. Number one, it gives me something to do in those late weeks of pregnancy when I'm just trying to hold on. Secondly, I do like to use it as aromatherapy during my birth. But yes, you can wait. You don't need to pre-blend your herbs if you don't want to. Once your baby gets here, after you clean the placenta, you can go ahead and pour your herbs directly on top. No, it really doesn't matter how you layer them. Just make sure that you add a generous amount of sea salt. Make sure that your placenta is completely covered. And as each day progresses, you can just add more of your herbs on top. So let's go ahead and start putting this blend together while I answer the rest of your questions. How do you handle the placenta if it's still attached to you? Now, this may seem like a silly question, but I realize that not everyone understands that when you give birth, you're not just giving birth to the baby, you also are gonna birth the placenta afterwards. So the placenta is not attached to you. Mom, the placenta is not attached to you and then also still attached to your baby when you're doing a Lotus birth. No, after you give birth to the placenta, it is still connected to the baby through the umbilical cord. And so you can still move around, you can still maneuver, and you don't have to worry about this thing just hanging out of you. I know that sounds graphic, but some people really did think that. So no, you're not restricted to your bed. You can still move around, and it's totally safe for you. Cloves are a grounding and protective herb. And as I'm doing this and chopping it up, the smell is so fragrant. I wanted to make sure to add this one to my blend because during the labor process, especially once you reach that final round of pushing, a lot of times your body is so tired and you can easily dissociate. And so this is such a powerful grounding herb that just helps to keep you centered. And the smell is revitalizing. It instantly snaps you back into your body. It helps to give a boost of energy. And so I'm really excited to have this as part of my blend. All right, next question. How do you move around with the baby? Is it easy to move around with the baby? How do you prevent accidents, things like that at night, so on and so forth? Lots of questions about mobility. And truthfully, if you are just careful with your movements, if you're slow, you're intentional, you're not passing your baby around to a bunch of guests, to a bunch of people, which you really shouldn't be doing anyway. It gives you enough time to have that skin to skin, that bonding time with your baby, then you really don't have to worry too much about movement. The umbilical cord is tough. You do want to make sure you're not accidentally getting it caught in things. So move slowly, move intentionally. And when it comes to breastfeeding, I've found that the sideline position is one of the best. It just allows you to keep the cord out of the way and tucked to the side. But I know it seems very cumbersome when you haven't done it before, but I promise you, if you are performing a Lotus birth, it really is very intuitive in terms of how to maneuver and just moving the cord in a way that makes sense. So my next herb is lemongrass, and this one is a very light and uplifting scent. It is also energizing, so it's great when you need that boost of energy, that push during labor. Also, much like cloves, lemongrass is antibacterial, antifungal, and so with these herbs, this is not just based on the spiritual benefits or the energetic benefits or the smell. It is quite literally for making sure that we are preserving the placenta, preventing any sort of bacterial growth or anything like that. I know the number one concern is always infection. Is there going to be an infection? And as long as you follow these steps when it comes to your salt and your herbs, then you will be fine. Next question, what happens to the baby's belly button? What does it look like after having a Lotus birth? It looks the exact same as if you were to cut the umbilical cord, burn the umbilical cord, or whatever other practice you choose to do. Think about it like this. When the umbilical cord is cut, there is still a stump that's left over, and that stump has to fall off. And that is what leaves the belly button. And so it's the same thing with a Lotus birth. The only difference is you're not cutting it. But that stump that would have been there, it's still there. It's just attached to the rest of the umbilical cord. So once it falls off, you're gonna have the same looking belly button that you would if you were to cut the umbilical cord. These are orange peels. They smell so sweet. They bring a grounding and uplifting effect to the atmosphere. They are also associated with abundance and prosperity, blessings, and new beginnings. Next question. How do I bathe my baby, and how do I keep their belly button clean? So the main thing that you should know is newborns really don't need to be bathed in those first few days, especially on day one. That waxy substance that's stuck to them when they first come out is actually super important. It's full of antibodies and antibacterial, microbial properties that really help to boost the baby's immune system. It's a great protective barrier for their skin. So there's so many benefits to leaving that on and just massaging it into their skin. With that being said, their skin is super delicate, and so giving them a full bath really isn't necessary. And the amount of time that it takes for the umbilical cord to detach is not very long. Usually it's only about like 3 or 4 days. It's not often that it goes beyond that, even though it can go up to like 7 days. You really don't need to do a full bath during that first full week. Now, that doesn't mean don't wipe your baby down, don't clean their neck and the milk off their face, yes, but you can use a wash rag for that, give them a little sponge bath. Just make sure that you avoid the placenta directly. Don't pull on it. Same thing that I said as far as being gentle with your movements. It's really that simple. As far as keeping the belly button clean, if you are breastfeeding, you can actually use your breast milk to keep that area clean. Again, you'll just want to use like a little washcloth, wipe it down if you see any bleeding or any crustiness that's there. You can use your breast milk for that. Your breast milk is designed to fit the needs of your baby. So as you're nursing, it's producing the antibodies, it's producing all of those immune building properties. So you actually can use it on wounds, on diaper rashes, so many uses for your breast milk, including cleaning the baby's belly button, or you can just simply wipe it down with a washcloth. There really shouldn't be too much for you to worry about. This is what my blend is looking like so far. We're gonna go ahead and add some of our powders now, sandalwood and cinnamon. As you can see, this is very earthy and I'm loving it. It smells amazing so far. Before we continue, I do want to say that I am hosting a 4-week Maiden to Motherhood Immersive in my private community on Patreon, the Sacred Cycle community. This is where I share all about herbalism, womb wellness, how to incorporate herbs into your womb wellness practice, and overall holistic health. So this month, I'm hosting a pregnancy and birth preparation course. So if you're interested in having an unmedicated birth, a home birth, an unassisted birth, a Lotus birth, or if you just want to know more about what to expect throughout your pregnancy and birthing journey from a holistic perspective, meaning the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual, then I invite you to join me in the Sacred Cycle community on Patreon, patreon.com/woman of the womb. I'll make sure I include the link in the description below as well. If you are watching this after this course already goes live, you can still sign up on Patreon, where you will have access to all of my recorded video tutorials, all of our live sessions from the 4-week program. Now let's go ahead and get into the rest of our questions. What happens to the cord when it dries and bends? So sometimes you'll notice that maybe after a night of sleeping or changing baby's clothes, the umbilical cord might bend a certain way. And as it gets hard, it's very tough. And so it doesn't just bend right back. And so one of the things that you can do is you can easily just rehydrate that part of the umbilical cord. It's super simple. Just put a little bit of water on your fingers, rub it on that part, and it'll soften up to where you can bend it back in the direction that you need to. It's not a huge deal. Very, very simple fix. Another common question that I've gotten is, do I need to rewash the placenta? Do I need to dump off the herbs, rewash it before I add new herbs? And the answer is no, you do not need to do that. If you notice that your herbs are getting a little low or dried out, you just need to go ahead and add more. Start with your salt and then add more of your herbs on top until you feel satisfied. So this herb that I just added is sandalwood. And this is one that is used very commonly in meditation, in spiritual rituals, especially in Buddhism, Hinduism. And so I thought it would be a great tribute and nod to us being here and giving birth in Thailand. Now I'm gonna add our cinnamon. Cinnamon represents abundance, prosperity. It is grounding, it is protecting. It is said to seal that energetic portal that is open when we're giving birth. And it also helps to stabilize our energy during times of significant transition. All right, last couple of questions. How do you handle the placenta after it detaches? Now, for me personally, I have always buried my placenta. I know there are other things that you can do. Most of the time, if you're disposing of it, it is considered biological waste, so you need to contact the proper facilities to do that. I have always just buried it. My first Lotus birth, it was on our property where we had our tiny home, school bus, and then our second Lotus birth, it was in the garden that we had in our home. And if I cannot bury it right away, I've always just held on to it until the right time. I've kept it frozen. And I know for some people that might be a little weird, but that is just what we choose to do. It's a way that we honor the cycle of life and give it back to the earth. The last and perhaps the most common question is, can I still encapsulate the placenta or consume it after doing a Lotus birth? And in short, the answer is no. If you have gone all 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 days, and then you want to then encapsulate or consume your placenta, no, I would not suggest that, especially with all the herbs on it, and because it's just like if you were to have a piece of steak that you've left out for that long. It's just not safe for you to consume in that way. Now, I have spoken to placenta encapsulation specialists, other doulas, and the common consensus seems to be that in the beginning, on the first day after baby is born, you can actually cut a piece that you want from the maternal side, that flat side that's attached to mom during pregnancy, not the side where the umbilical cord is stemming from, but the other side. Then you can go ahead and you can cut a piece off of that and store it in the proper way. I am not a placenta encapsulation specialist, so I don't know the full process, but I highly advise working with one of them, letting them know what your plan is and seeing what they advise. And those are the most frequently asked questions. This is my final blend. It smells amazing. But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna store my herbs in this mason jar. You can also just store it in a nice Ziploc bag or any airtight container, really. This one is more powdery than my other ones, but I definitely don't mind that. I am really happy with how it came out as far as the scent goes and the energy that I feel from it. As I lead up to giving birth, I'll probably pop this open a few times a day. And I think that really just helps to connect. It helps with visualizing the labor process, putting myself in that frame of mind and in that mindset. And I really believe that helps the birth go a lot smoother. It helps with staying present and staying connected throughout labor. So this is my blend. And that's it. That is how I prepare my Lotus Birth herbal blend. If you plan on having a Lotus Birth, then make sure you check out the step-by-step tutorial. And if you enjoy these videos and want to continue supporting this channel, or if you want to join me for the Maiden to Motherhood Immersive, or you just want to be a part of a community learning more about connecting to your womb space, womb health and wellness, and herbal medicine, then make sure you join the community on Patreon, patreon.com/woman of the womb, and I will see you back here in our next video. Much love.